Good evening. Am I audible? Okay, great. I think Anna is on another session, so she's going to be joining in any moment. But thank you. What a illustrious, eclectic, diverse set of people on a day when there's been rain, there's been sunshine. But thank you for being here. It's the business end of Bookmark, and I think I want to emphasize on the business aspect of it. That's what brings us together. The purpose of the session is to give each other a glimpse of what we publish, how we select our books, and what we're looking for. And I think because there's a large group of people and we have a limited amount of time, I'm going to request each of us to speak for about 3 minutes. I'm going to have a timer here, but I don't want to be anal about it. But just to give all of us a chance to, do a sort of a speed pitch or an elevator pitch, if you may call it, so that it's at least the beginning of important conversations that can be taken offline and lead to more business. Should we? I understand a couple of friends, they do have a flight to catch, Ravi and Kannan. So I'm gonna. Okay, you're skipping the flight. Great. Cool. Ravi, could we start with you, please?
Hi, I'm Ravi DC from DC Books. I publish in Malayalam, which is one of the most active publishing languages of India. And we focus mainly on trade and journal titles, a lot of fiction, a lot of non-fiction. And in the last few years, if the last few months, if you look at it, actually, about a couple of years, if you look at it, in the Nielsen scan, book scan, many of the titles has been, the back titles which has been selling in India, but Malayalam is the other way around. Actually, the front titles sells decently well. And one thing with that is actually a lot of it get translated into English as well. So I think the writers as well as the readers actually, I mean, we have a very good ecosystem where a lot of new writing is accepted. A lot of new writing is accepted by the older readers, as well as a lot of old writing has been accepted by the newer generation, as well as a lot of new writing is the thing for the youngsters as well. So the youngsters is also reading, and they read in a different way, different format, different kind of domain, kind of space actually, but it's still active. And for same reason actually, I mean, quite a few of the books published in Malayalam, be it in any publisher, the books gets picked up by many languages. The books get picked up by the big 3, 4 in India. So this is what probably is.
I must add here, because Ravi and Kannan, some of you are people we work with. Malayalam is also one of the most traveled languages in the world. We translate from Malayalam to English. And I think it's also like a way for a lot of territories in the world to get a glimpse into what Indian literature is. So it's a good doorway for many of you who are looking to explore Indian writing or writing originating in Indian languages. So I think Ravi is someone you must speak with. Milee, could we have you introduce your list?
Hi, like Kannan is whispering to me, it's impossible to introduce my list in 3 minutes, because I'm the publisher of Penguin and we publish quite a few books, 250 in a year, across, different genres. And again, we're very lucky to partner with, Kannan and Ravi and, from Tamil to Malayalam. And I just wanted to say something about borders, because I feel there shouldn't be borders in literature. Especially with stories. I think good stories resonate with everyone and find readers. So I think that is one of the things that I'm personally very conscious of. we have won awards for some of our books that we publish. We've got global awards, the Booker, the Tomb of Sand by Gitanjali Shri won the Booker. Perumal Murugan's Paya got longlisted for the Booker. Shehan's, 7 Moons of Mali Almeida won the Booker. But I also wanted to talk a bit about regional publishing because, we have, I'm surrounded by 2 iconic men who publish very well in regional languages because that has also been at the top of our thinking as a team. And one of my own writers, Vasudendra, who writes in Kannada and we publish him in English, told us he did a whole research on languages and we published last year about 35 books in translation from other languages into English. This is something that we've been doing over the years, but I think now this is getting more attention. And I think for all the right reasons. I still feel sometimes very guilty because there are so many hidden gems and, we cannot do everything so quickly. But there is a lot of investment in terms of time, energy. We keep on talking to writers who are conversant and, well in those languages and try and spot talent early. So I think that is really important for a publishing house for us. We are very conscious about having a diverse program and discovering new voices from across the world, but also in India first.
Thank you, Milee. Kannan?
Hi, I'm Kannan Sundaram. I'm publisher of Kala Chuvodu Publications. We publish in Tamil, which is one of the oldest classical languages of South Asia. And it's also a language of the state, and not just in India, but also in Sri Lanka, Singapore, Malaysia. And so there are, compared to the large population of Tamils, I would say that book market is not that big, but it's a growing market and it's a very interesting market. We also our list is a lot of translations, about 20% of what we publish, about 100 titles per year. That's translations from other Indian languages and international languages. And recently we made a list of writers in Tamil, who write in Tamil, but whose mother tongue is different. Mother tongue may be another language. So I could list out 9 languages. People who speak 9 different languages at home, but their writing is in Tamil. So I think that shows that, for example, there is a Gujarati speaking very important Tamil writer, there's a Sindhi speaking writer, Urdu, Malayalam, Telugu, Kannada, Tulu, and I thought Saurashtra, from Saurashtra. And it goes to that fact that we have a long history of translating from other languages. Also that how society easily accepts other people into their fold and makes them its own. So that's the aspect of society I'm very proud of. Our list is very diverse, but in my rights catalog I focus on literary fiction and non-fiction. And my aim has been to sort of translate what best language from Malayalam to international languages can offer for Tamil. Also to take our best writings to as many languages as possible. And we have succeeded in a small way in doing that. Thank you.
Kannan, may I just also add, we have a large group of publishers who are from Europe, especially Germany. In the past, have you acquired rights of a book that was originally published in German or French or Italian for that matter, and have you published it locally in Tamil?
Yes, many languages.
Great. So
many
that's great to know.
At least about 30 different languages of the world internationally. We are published in Tamil.
Got it. So I think that's a good heads up for many of you who are looking to
Yes.
have them published in India. I think Kannan is someone who's there. Thank you, Kannan. Lena, over to you.
Hi, I'm Lena. I'm editor at the publishing house Wagenbach. It's based in Berlin. It's an independent publisher for nearly 60 years now, and founded by by Klaus Wagenbach. He was a very famous guy in the 1670s. He was very connected to the 68 movement and had a lot of struggles. But and he was one of the first to translate from the Italian. So we got a lot of Italian names in our backlist, all the modern classics, and we strive to continue with new Italian voices. So if you look in our backlist, you find all the big Italian names. And we continue to publish books out of conviction because we love the books, only the literary ones, no genre, no commercial stuff. And we only, and that's a bit of restriction, unfortunately, that we only translate from the languages we can speak and we can read in the original. So because we have out of the 60s tradition, collective decision making in our editorial team. So we have, when I want to publish a book, I have to convince my colleagues first, and we do translations from the Italian, the Spanish, the French. We have some German authors in fiction as well, and then English and Dutch. And I have to say the English ones more like we don't do the big US American novels, more like the Canadians or the Irish, the outsiders. And then we do some non-fiction as well. Myself, I've been at the publishing house for 15 years, roundabout, and I'm doing the Dutch and English fiction and political non-fiction, and I love to do both because it's a very different task. And in the political field, we have a lot of German authors, some translations too, but a lot of authors we ask to do this book because we find the work or the thoughts of this person inspiring, and then it's a lot of work to bring to think about how the book could be written, and you work very closely, and that's really a different task than from doing the editorial work on translations, because where we are very precarious about that, and go sentence by sentence, and there's but it's a very different task, and I love to do both, and and we have of course some other independent publishers in Germany. We always have to compete with the big ones, and try to do our way of courage, and sometimes I think they're the more courageous publishers in Germany, the independent ones, and do find the marginalized voices or forgotten female voices, forgotten classics as well, to bring them to their attention. Some authors really are, from these female voices, they are very up to date, they were very modern and neglected because of this, because they were ahead of their time, so now's the time. And I can show you, and then I pat the mic, I know. I have to be quick. These are, I only brought the German authors because it's more interesting for you to see. This is a very, very interesting German author. And we want to do beautiful books, so handcrafted. It's really like this one, it's laid by hand on top of it. It's in red linen. This is Austrian, Japanese author, very famous. She's gorgeous at readings. People love her. And then we have, as I said, the non-fiction. This is about the cultural history of the breast, because we do some cultural history, art history stuff. And this is, these are the political ones. Very, a lot of opinion led. We have paperback in our house as well.
Right. Great. Lena, give me a sense of the general print run that you would do for a work of fiction and for a work of non-fiction. How many copies would you print in the first printing?
Oh, it depends a lot. It depends a lot.
Sure.
So, and we do a lot of mistakes because if we believe in this book, we think that everybody has to read it, and then we don't succeed sometimes. But it's in between. It can be only 500. Oh, if we are very successful, we have like this one. What I showed, I would say, 500. That's really not so much. Sure. Normal would be 2,000, I would say, and then we have like millions, sometimes over the years, over the decades, by this German poet. Nobody knows him, I guess, Erich Fried, but he's very, very famous in Germany with political poems and love poems as well. So sometimes, and this one, this author, for example, it sold very well as well, and we had yeah, Francesca Melandri. I don't know if someone knows her as an Italian author. She was, it was a tremendous a success for us as well. And so we can achieve to do the books we want to do and have many difficulties sell because the other help the others. So it's a cross-finance strategy. Yeah. But yeah, and of course we always reprint and have the backlist for decades. So we really stick to our authors and want to continue. And sometimes with the second book, the first one has to be reprinted. So or sometimes
It's true for most parts of the world, isn't it? We are all a backlist-driven publishing world, and I think which is exactly why when publishers make a selection of what to publish, we think of longevity, which are the books that are going to stand the test of time and we continue selling for years, and I think which is what makes our jobs so important. I mean, for identifying the voices and bringing them out into the world. So thank you, Lena. Franziska, if I could ask you to tell us a bit about your lists.
Sure. My name is Franziska. I first wanted to say that, of course, it's about business here, but it's, for me, the first reason is to share passion for books with you all, and it's a pleasure to be on the festival. I'm of the publishing house Edition Nautilus in Germany. We are celebrating our 50th anniversary this year, and it was founded by two very young German people who were active in the anarchist movement in Hamburg, and one French man. He was a bit older, like they were 20, 21, and he was French and came from the 68 movement in Paris, and they wanted to make these texts available. They were looking for undogmatic perspectives on the society in Germany, and they started to publish Dada and Surrealist authors like Francis Picabia, Max Ernst, Kurt Schwitters, Tristan Tzara, and so that's what we're still doing. It's a couple of years ago, it was handed over to a young generation of us, people who were already there in the publishing house, working there. And we are still looking for, we publish fiction and non-fiction, originally written in German, but also translations from English and from French still, and other languages. And yeah, it's the political aspect goes through fiction, crime fiction, to the non-fiction. So this is one thing. And we have, for the non-fiction, we have a quite popular series called the Flugschriften. So this is a notebook, the Flugschrift to write on yourself. And it's essays on current political debates like feminism, anti-racism, city development. We have published the young author, British author, Laurie Penny. She's been very successful, more successful in Germany actually than in Great Britain. And yeah, so that's also what we're looking for. I would like to know if there are critical voices about the current situation in India. If there are also a big subject in Europe is classism, and so this is one thing I would like to know, if there are perspectives on this topic in India too, and it's I think that's it.
Excellent, thank you. Could you tell me, Franziska, could you tell me about your most successful translation, and from what language was that?
I think the most successful translation has really been Laurie Penny. Okay. From English. We have done 4 non-fiction books and 1 short story book with her or even 5 non-fiction, I think. Her first one was in 2012 and the last one 2022. But we also had a huge success with Shumuna Sinha. She's from Calcutta. She lives in Paris for over more than 20 years. She's been on the festival too. Yes. Her first novel, Down with the Poors, the English title, has been published in 2015 with us, and yeah, it's been really successful.
Thank you, Franziska. Naveen, you're next. Many of you would already know Naveen. 40 years of Seagull. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, we have to stop clapping. You're eating into my time. No, yeah, so basically, I would recommend strongly that you visit seagullbooks.org because we have an excellent rights catalog of voices that are not usually fashionable across cultures. So you have voices from Slovakia and Latvia, and you have the Arab countries, and you have, of course, our Indian languages, Bengali, Hindi in particular, and of course the English language. But we tend to do about 50 books a year, and I'm often asked about what is our mission, what is it we are looking for, and I never know what to answer, except when I think about it, the one thing that binds our entire list, and the list, when I say entire list, we have over 200 books from German thought and literature and poetry and philosophy, and similarly French and Italian and most Arab countries, Francophone writing, is the human condition. What is it that binds us all as human beings in terms of the literatures we read, the stories we find, the footnotes of the odd book we pick up, and the chord that it rings? So I'm often asked, why are you publishing this story about a woman in a Bavarian village? And I said, well, if you compare it to something in one of our villages in Maharashtra, it's ringing a similar bell for me. And if it does for me and 4 other people and 6 other people, it might for 600 and 6,000, and that's how it kind of grows. So we're looking, therefore, there are friends here I recognize, and we've looking for similar books. So there's no rigid thing that so many titles of fiction or non-fiction, or because we do theater, we do cinema, we do some writing on contemporary art. We also have of course, one enjoys translating certain books that we own rights to across languages into Indian languages, and we've had the pleasure of working with both of these gentlemen on my right. But yes, do visit the catalog online.
And do visit the Seagull store if you're in Calcutta. It's a destination that's a must visit. If you're ever in the city, I think it's a dream workplace for a lot of us, editors, because that's the kind of workplace we always sort of wanted to be in. Naveen, is there a language or a geography from where you've acquired a book to publish which you hadn't in the last, say, 4 or 5 years? So German, Italian, French, these are languages?
Yeah, no, we've recently got a very wonderful growing Slovak list, for example, which is giving us a lot of joy. The Hungarian list has also suddenly taken on quite an impressive... And what you have to realize is that these are not fantasy lists that we wake up in the morning and say, today we're going after Slovakia. No. There's no such hegemonic dreams. It's usually who walks in, right? You meet friends and somebody walks in with an idea and says, have you considered doing this and this? And I said, no. Would you take on the responsibility? And then you get yourself a series editor. Then that's how it kind of grows. So, but at the moment, there's a huge amount of attention, and in fact, one of our Slovak novelists has just won a lovely prize, and for a poetry book, which we've just announced. So it's a wonderful kind of thing.
Excellent. I must add here, there's the Seagull course for people aspiring to be in publishing, which is
publishing school that we do.
Yes,
from
and
January
it's one of
to
the
March.
it's one of the most sought after courses. We have hired people who've done the course and wanted to be in publishing, and Sunandini, who heads design for Seagull, one of the best in the country in the business. And I think the reason why the Seagull catalog is something Naveen is plugging, because the catalog is a work of art, and I think Sunandini has a lot to do with it. So yeah, I think so. So that's Seagull. Shailesh, you're next. Please, could you tell us a bit about your list and what you're looking at?
My name is Shailesh Bharatwasi, and I run a publishing house named Niyogi. Jose.
A little louder, please. Yeah.
Now audible?
Yes.
Yeah. My name is Shailesh Bharatwasi, and I run a publishing house named Niyogi. We publish titles, basically contemporary fiction and non-fiction poetry books in Hindi only for more than last 13 years. We published around 400 titles of fiction, non-fictions, and Nielsen publish a list of Hindi bestseller. In that, we hold almost all the list, 70% of the fiction best-selling list, and we has been publishing a new age Hindi. We call new age Hindi, Nai Wali Hindi, that basically connects the younger generation with literature and literary activities. And recently we have decided to do some translation from Indian languages to Hindi. Basically the contemporary Malayalam, Tamil, Bengali and other vernacular languages to our list for the translation.
And what have you noticed changing in terms of the print runs that you're doing? How sensitive have readers become of the pricing? It's something we've spoken about here at Bookmark.
Hindi buyers, Hindi readers, you can say are always sensitive to the pricing. Right now, they easily buy a book of a cover price of 199 or less than 200, but they hesitate to buy a book of more than 300, 400. Right. And in terms of print run, we do we publish some books that their sales, I can say, touch to 2 lakhs copies. Yeah. But we usually do a print run of 3,000, 5,000, 2,000, and some of the books of 200 and 500 also. We publish 50 titles in a year, of print run ranging from 500 to 10,000.
And if you are obtaining the translation rights of a book that is, say, originating in German, French, Italian, any of these languages, do you wait for an English edition to come and then you translate to Hindi, or have you tried translating from German directly to Hindi?
We will try to do directly if we get a translator from source language to target language. Yeah.
Thank you, Shailesh. Trisha, over to you.
Am I audible? Yes. I should be. Okay. So I am from Niyogi Books. We just turned 18. So Niyogi Books, when it started in 2005, we started with large format, highly researched, illustrated books on art, architecture, textiles, culture, biographies, and more. Over the years, we've grown that list. We've got a huge list in that aspect. And over the years, we've started taking contemporary artists as well. We have published on Bikash Bhattacharjee, then M.F. Hussain. Now we're doing a book on F.M. Souza. and so on and so forth. But that has been our mainstay since our inception. Post-COVID, we saw a huge growth in demand for those books. So our print runs actually increased post-COVID. We also focus heavily on translations. We have translated now from at least 20 Indian languages to English. We've also got a dedicated imprint to Hindi illustrated books. It's a difficult market, but yet we've been trying to push it because the quality matters. And so the price points is a challenge. As he said, the price point is a challenge, but we are seeing interest in those books despite the price range. So that's a new discovery that we've made for ourselves. In December, we launched our children's imprint. So now our age group of readership goes from 4 to 104. And with this, we've also started a line of international fiction. It just happened 2 years ago. But we're going slow with it, but we have translated now at least from 7 international languages to English for the Indian subcontinent. We also have a bookstore in Kolkata, our first bookstore in Kolkata, and we are backward integrated with our printing press as well.
Excellent. I think all of us here on the panel, I think one common challenge we've faced in the last 2 years is that the cost of production has gone up. Paper is expensive, and there seems to be no signs of it sort of, becoming affordable. How have you dealt with that?
We've not been able to deal with that, but our readers have become price agnostic. They're still buying those books. So yes, it's a challenge. We would like the prices to go down, but it's like gold today. So can't help it. We have to deal with it. We have to go around it. What we do is, because we own the printing press, we try and keep the wastage of paper very low. We get paper cut in that size itself as we need. So it takes a little longer for us to print a book, but then we have as little wastage as possible. And since we print in 4 colors and other stuff, so that's one of the best way of reducing it. Again, the other things are common for everybody.
Right. And you said interest in your books has gone up after the pandemic. Why do you think that has happened?
I think people are reading more, or our branding has improved. It could be anything.
I think something shifted during the pandemic, didn't it? I think it was possibly a time for us, all of us, to introspect and really think about, what we really care about. But I think all of us will have, one change we've done to the way we do business, or the way we approach our publishing program after the pandemic. So I think the needle sort of shifted in some way, and each of us may have unique stories, and we'll come to that, I think. But I'd like Annette to talk to us about your list.
Yeah. My name is Annette Michael. I am the publisher of Hollander Books in Berlin. We are quite a young publishing house, so founded in 2017. The reason to found the publishing house was personal experiences we had with the refugee situation that hit Germany in 2016. So I became a legal guardian of 2 underage boys, one from Syria, one from Iran, and that made it very clear to me that there is a big lack in Germany in knowledge about the world and the world outside our Western world. And so that drove us to found this publishing house. And so we focus on the topics women, feminism, world literature, and movement and migration. And we do fiction, non-fiction, and started in 21 with children's books. So, yeah, the aim of our program is to cross borders and to rip borders somehow. So we have we are publishing a lot of translations coming with that. We have a series about African literature. We have a series about, doesn't matter, about Black life in Germany, you know, which is also quite a topic. So we are focusing mainly on marginalized groups. So we are interested in all topics like that. We haven't published something from South Asia till now. And during the pandemic, sometimes wonders happen. Miracles happen. So one of our African authors, which is Tsitsi Dangarembwa, which is quite known to the rest of the world and was also published in the 90s in Germany, and then was gone from the market for 20 years. And we rediscovered her and published her first book. Since our financial resources were quite limited at that time, we're really happy to be able to buy a translation, and we didn't have to do that on our own. Then she got nominated for the shortlist of the Booker Prize. At that time, we had already acquired the rights for her third novel at that time, not for the second. That was for rights reasons and difficulties in the background. And then she won the German Peace Award of the German booksellers, which made a total difference to sales at that point. And that helped us a lot financially to invest in our list. So we have a backlist now of about 60 titles. And so we are looking for books in those, on those topics.
Since you're a fairly new publishing house and you said people weren't aware of, you know, certain stories and subjects, how did you test the appetite that people had for these stories? Is there a way, is there a process that you've followed to identify these are the stories?
I listened yesterday to someone from a big publishing house coming from Amazon. No, we didn't. It's a conviction, a personal conviction, that we have to open our minds and that we have to give an invitation to the readers to the topics we consider important. So, no, I didn't test the water, and we still publish books we know that they might not be very successful, but we consider as life situations of people that have to be known, you know, that are beyond the bold headlines of our news. And so, for example, just if I may do an example, we published a book by a Cameroon author, Jaili Amadou Amal, about polygamy and forced marriage and domestic violence. So it's not like a pleasant topic to talk about, but we dearly need to talk and also look at things like that, and also like find the similarities or the universality of these topics. And so we were really lucky this year that her book, which already won the Prix Goncourt des Lycéens, like the Prix Goncourt of the students, got nominated in Germany for the German Youth Award. She didn't get it in the end, but at least she got nominated, and so that was really a big opportunity to bring the book into the education market, which we don't do by ourselves because we're too young and we don't have like the tools. So I sold the rights to a publisher who specialized in educational books.
Sure. That's a great story. And I think, again, the refugee crisis offering an opportunity for a completely new imprint to sort of be born. So thank you for that. Alvaro, thank you. Could you tell us a bit about your list and what are you looking for and what can we expect?
Yes, Indica Books opened 30 years before in Varanasi, and we have a bookshop and a publishing house. Now, as a publishing house, we publish mostly books on the classical culture of India. Many translations from Sanskrit or studies or things like this. We publish also books on the teachings of sages, Mahatmas, and we have also many books on the city of Varanasi itself. Now we, surprisingly, we sell better the specialized books than the general books, because general books, so many people are publishing general books. But if you want to find an English translation of the Tantra Sara, then you don't have many places to choose. So we have there a good niche. And now people tell me sometimes, why don't you publish books about this thing? This we cannot do. We are depending on what the authors offer to us. No? Yeah. And fortunately, we had a very good luck, and we are receiving very good books. Occasionally, we take the initiative. For example, now we have published something very different from our line, which is a comic rendering of the Mahabharata. Right. Very, very beautiful, in English, in Hindi, and in Sanskrit. Excellent. But we are having problems to distribute it because it's out of the line of our distributors. Our distributors want hard stuff, ideological stuff. And this is it. We publish a few books in a year because there are not so many offers, and because I am also the only employee in the publishing section. No? I'm the director and the peon, like you. But we publish few books, but all of them are good. This I can say. And along the year, then you manage to have we must have only some 90 titles, something like this. Sure. And you were asking before about the print runs. We usually print about 500-600 copies, not more than that, usually. But we do a lot of reprints, because books like this don't get out of fashion. Yeah. So they take a long time to sell, but after 5 years or 10 years, then one edition is sold, and we reprint it and keep going on.
And in what languages do you publish?
We publish mainly English, yeah. Sometimes with a Sanskrit original, right. And Hindi. A few are publishing in Hindi. Right. Only in Sanskrit we have only published, apart from this Mahabharata, we have only published one book, but it's not selling very well. Not many readers, only in Sanskrit.
Excellent. Thank you, Alvaro. Parminder, you're next. Tell us a bit about your list and what can we expect in the coming year.
Hi, I'm Parminder Singh Shonkey from Punjab, and I represent Rethink Books. Sorry.
Sure.
Hello. Now audible? Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, I don't know English well, so हिंदी में बात करूँगा थोड़ा, मैम ट्रांसलेट कर देंगी. हम लोगों ने रीथिंक बुक्स की जो स्टार्टिंग की थी आज से करीब 3 साल पहले पंजाब में. तो पंजाब में तब हम लोग ट्रांसलेशन बेस्ड एक पब्लिकेशन की जो स्टार्टिंग करना चाहते थे, जिसमें ऑल इंडिया एंड अब्रॉड से जो एक वर्ल्ड क्लासिक लिटरेचर है उसको हम लोग पंजाबी जो रीडरशिप है उसके पास लेकर जाएं. तो स्टार्टिंग में हमने 50 टाइटल्स करीब 1.5 साल में पब्लिश किए थे, जो स्पेशली ही ट्रांसलेशन पे बेस्ड थे. तो उसमें हम लोगों ने ज़्यादातर हिंदी से ट्रांसलेशन की, इंग्लिश से की, तो स्पेनिश से की, फिर हम लोगों ने जर्मन से भी कुछ प्रोजेक्ट लिए थे, अभी मराठी में कर रहे हैं. तो बाद में रीथिंक की शुरुआत जो थी वो हम लोगों ने हिंदी में भी की, तो इंग्लिश में भी कुछ टाइटल निकाले थे, अभी उर्दू में भी काम करने जा रहे हैं. तो 2-3 चीज़ें हैं रीथिंक के बारे में बात करने के लिए मेरे पास। एक तो ये है कि पंजाबी में रीडरशिप बहुत कम है। जैसे कि हम लोग कल भी डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि जो प्रॉब्लम हम लोग पंजाबी में या रीजनल लैंग्वेज में फेस करते हैं कि मैक्सिमम बुक्स जो प्रिंट होती है वो 500 या 1100 उससे ज़्यादा बिल्कुल नहीं होती। तो उसमें जो हम लोगों ने ट्रांसलेशन का रिस्क लिया था उसमें कॉपीराइट्स की कॉस्ट, प्रिंटिंग की कॉस्ट, क्योंकि हमारी जो आप लोग बुक्स की जो क्वालिटीज़ देखेंगे, मेरी वाइफ के पास है, मैं दिखा सकता हूँ बाद में, तो वो हम लोगों की कोशिश की पेंगुइन या हार्पर के लेवल की लेकर आए लोग। पंजाब में हम लोगों ने इसी वजह से हम जाने जाते हैं कि सबसे जो महंगी किताबें हैं वो रीथिंक पब्लिश करता है। लेकिन हमें खुशी इस बात की है कि कोई भी हमारी किताब ऐसी नहीं रही है कि जिसको पाठकों का रिस्पांस ना मिला हो। हमारी किताबें अवार्ड में जाती हैं और बल्क में लोग पढ़ते हैं। इसलिए हमारी कोशिश रहती है कि हम लोग ऐसा ना देखें कि रीडर क्या चाहता है, हम लोग ऐसा देख के मानकर चलते हैं कि हम लोग लीडर को क्या दें कि वो हमारी किताबें पढ़े। इस थॉट के साथ हम लोग आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। तो मेरा ख्याल है कि जो है इसका जो सफ़र है ऐसे ही चलता रहेगा जी।
Excellent. Manisha, do you want to?
Just do a quick summary.
Yeah.
What Parminder said. They started 3 years ago, and they wanted to bring world classics into Punjabi. They are also working in languages such as Hindi, Urdu, and bringing translation from those languages. It is a price-sensitive market, and they are also quite focused on creating a readership for the kind of books that they are bringing into their list. And I think you said that the print runs were quite low because they weren't over 500 to 1100, but they focus very heavily on the production quality, and they want to bring it to the Harper and Penguin level, or they have brought it to the Harper and Penguin level. So their books are very well received, and the readership that they have managed to cultivate is actually quite happy with the prices that they have, and they are willing to pay for that. But it's a long road because they still have to continue to work on growing their readership.
Thank you.
Thanks, Manisha. Thank you, Parminder. Anirudh, over to you. Could you tell us a bit about your list, please?
Hi. My name is Anirudh, and I'm one of the co-founders of Blue One Ink. Can you hear me, guys?
We can, yes.
Sheer coincidence that we also started about 3 years back. Bang in the middle of the pandemic was our first launch. Since then, we have published about 60 odd titles, and starting from genres like spirituality to military history to geopolitics and to contemporary politics. We pretty much published everything else. We have basically published in English, but we have a few titles in Bengali and a few in Hindi. And the next year also, we pretty much see us doing the same thing.
Just hold it closer when they try
to use it. Is that better? So, so the forthcoming year, we probably will end up publishing pretty much about anything between 40 and 60 titles, similar topics, and so pretty much that's 3 years, so not enough to fill in the 3 minutes you gave me.
What gave birth to Blue One Ink? What was the motivation? I mean, 3 years back, I mean, we were living in pretty,
dangerous
difficult times.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that.
So it's as one of our patrons, Dr. Singh, said in the morning session, it's a labor of love. So it's the fact that we just, all of us at the founder level, just love reading and at it for quite a bit of time. And some of us, like one of the head of the group, Partho, he writes. He's written 3 or 4 books starting. Our first book was a book by him on integral education. So that's from where the journey started. We were looking for a publisher to take over the rights from UBS for his books, and we didn't find any. So we just thought we'll start ourselves. And since then, we have got into about 60 titles, as I said. So
excellent.
Anything else that you would like to know?
Excellent. I think one common thread I'm seeing is that editorial conviction is really at the heart of deciding that the book getting published. I think Annette mentioned this earlier, that if there's an editor who's convinced and determined that this is a story that deserves to be told. It is the biggest, motivator in taking that story forward into the world. So I think that's something, it's a common thread across publishers. Dirk, you are one of the best, or possibly the best illustrator right now on the panel.
Illustrator. No, I'm a comics publisher from Berlin.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I think I'm the only comics publisher. That's probably true. And so we are publishing what is today called mostly graphic novels. This is an excerpt from an artist from Hamburg who has done graphic essays for the topics of Kyoto and Portuguese, Italian, and German cities. It's different styles which she adapts to how she perceives the cities, and so it's a good example, I believe, of that. We are publishing unique voices, so artists with very original styles, and we always go for the combination of words and pictures and code and sequences. So we're a real comic publisher, and I think that passion started for me as a child when I started reading Peanuts and similar stories, and I was lucky enough that throughout my life comics changed, the contents changed, and there was always something again that piqued my interest until the graphic novels started in France with the magazine À Suivre. And at one point in my life, I've suddenly found artists who I thought they speak about experience which I can share, and those were artists of my age. And that convinced me to start publishing and to contact those artists, those Americans, Daniel Klaus, Los Bros Hernandez, and to visit them and to try to understand them. And it was 1991, so it was amazingly easy to get the license. And that's how we started. And we've been growing ever since. I started for the first 15 years with one colleague. Right now we are 20 people, and we're publishing, as you do, about 50, 60 books a year with growing success. 10 years ago, we started to publish a children's comics line as well, which was new for us, but we thought we educated our audience with the kind of things we did enough that they would give comics to their children, and it actually worked. Because normally, or still is in Germany, there's a prejudice against comics. Comics are literature content for people that can't read, is the basic prejudice. So. And we tried to work against that all the time. And nowadays there's more and more exception. Our artists get prizes and awards all the time. It's really amazing. There's been a shift and a growing readership as well. Yeah, so that's quite good to see. Our print runs range from 1,000 to 5,000, and we recently had a bestseller last year with a comic by Hayao Miyazaki, by the guy from Studio Ghibli. We published a very early manga by him, and we are publishing comics from authors from all over the world. Sadly, we also don't have any South Asian yet, but we'd be happy to see something. And as I said, we're looking for a unique style and voice that can't be compared with anything else. But I didn't see yet so many graphic novels here in Jaipur, but that will be what would interest me.
Interested to look at. I noticed both are you're carrying hardbacks. Is that the default format in which you publish in, or have cost pressures made you think about doing them in paperbacks? Have you experimented with formats?
No, we believe in the object. So we take great pride as well in having, this is a Dutch artist, and she did the hand lettering, so all the writing she did herself.
Great.
And we take great care in that we create beautiful objects, and since it's all very personal, I believe what we do is personal from the artist's point of view as well. We don't go into digital, so we just hesitant, and it works with our readership so far, at least. Often with comics, they are created as a two-page spread, and it's very difficult to reproduce that idea on an iPad.
Yeah.
Normally, you have just one page, and it doesn't really work well, I think.
No, these seem like proper collectibles. So I think anyone who would want to have a copy of it in the physical format. So they look gorgeous. Thank you, Dirk. Vera, you next. Please, could you tell us?
So we started in 1987 with Noir sur Blanc, which was specialized, as it was said in the presentation, in building bridges between East and West, mostly translating into French, Polish, and Russian literature, and then all the literature of Eastern Europe. But now I'm the publisher of the Libella publishing group, which encompasses more than 10 different publishing houses. So we still have the specificity of publishing in French and in Polish. We publish about 400 books a year on very different issues, a lot of fiction, mostly in translation, but not only. Non-fiction with a focus on travel writing and narrative history, environment, and music, which come from the Buchet-Chastel publishing house that was established in 1929 and have always been strong on music. And as well, we have a few long sellers about yoga, which are still unchanged since the 1960s and still sell, some black and white pictures with very complicated postures. We've looked at a way to rejuvenate it, but it's difficult to find people to do the postures and the pictures. So if somebody has an idea, why not? We also have a few, 4 bookstores, one in Poland, one in Switzerland, and 2 in Paris. One of the 2 in Paris is a Polish bookstore, which exists since 1833. So we celebrated the 190th anniversary last year. And another publishing house, which serves as a small gallery as well, which is called Delpire et Compagnie, because we do publish a lot of illustrated books as well, mostly photography and drawing. Voilà.
No, I think 190 years, you said?
Yeah. It's one of the oldest bookstores in Paris, still in existence. Yeah.
That's something that gives us hope. Thank you, Vera. Sanghamitra, go for it.
Hello, I'm Sanghamitra, and I... Oh, is this better? I think I'll just use this. I'm Sanghamitra, and I work with Westland Books. Westland Books is a small, big publisher, and by that I mean that, we're actually only 1.5 years old in our new avatar, but we've been around for a long time. My career in Westland is 10 years old, but it's a homegrown publisher that was acquired by Amazon some time ago, and then we were shut down. And now we are back on track and we are publishing again. So Westland has had to reinvent itself many times over. And as a result, we have a really rich and varied list. So that and the support of our authors who've stayed with us through these many years has been very, very heartening. That's why we are still around. So we are a very author-focused publishing house. And we publish pretty much everything. We have fiction, we have non-fiction, we have a children's imprint. We have a very strong translations imprint. We've worked with Shailesh ji, we've worked with Kalachivadu, we've worked with DC Books. So translations into, so our translations imprint is called Eka. And in that we publish mostly literary fiction from regional languages. And what we find is that the literary fiction that we publish in Eka resonates really well with the urban city audiences. It's very different from Indian writing that originates in English, and we are seeing a resurgence of interest and a revival of interest in regional Indian languages. We also sometimes publish in the English and find that the book is doing well and go into other Indian languages. That also happens, but Eka is primarily an English language imprint. It's a languages imprint, but we take on translations from different languages. Those books, because of their literary merit, because of the stories they tell, and the kind of varied places and geographies that they come from, they resonate so well with the Indian readers sitting in cities that I'm convinced that they have a market even in European cities. And because I feel like someone sitting in Delhi or Mumbai has a life very similar to someone actually sitting in Berlin, perhaps, like their routines and their, like the way they live. So I don't see a reason why those stories cannot travel to other languages, other countries, and find readership there. So we are trying to actively place some of our really brilliant authors all over the world. So we are very focused on that. And yeah, I mean, as a publisher, we are very focused on finding fresh voices. We are a very editorially driven team. Like I said, West End has had a revival of sorts. So all of us who are still in West End are very committed to making, the editorial team is very committed to doing books that we really believe in. So that remains a concern that we all feel very passionately about. And that usually ends up meaning that the books we do, we all back with all our heart. So yeah, that's West End, and that's the kind of publishing we do.
Thank you, Sanghamitra. Anna, you're next.
Good evening, and thank you very much, Sanjoy, especially, to be here again after so many years. And I came often with Roberto Calasso, who was the publisher of the Adelphi publishing house in Milan, which was founded in 1963. At that time, Roberto Calasso was 23 years old, and he had two friends. One was Luciano Foix, and the other Roberto Bazlen. And the publishing house was named Adelphi because it means affinity, brothers. Because these three friends felt so akin to each other that they said, we have to be together, and we are three intellectual, three spiritual brothers who have to establish a publishing house. And this publishing house concentrated from the beginning, I must say, on, as they said, only good books. It didn't matter if it would, sure it mattered if it would have sold, but in the beginning, the only aim was making good books. That meant the quality of the paper, the quality of the printing. Every single word was corrected, and the translations were excellent, and above all, the authors were excellent. So the authors were coming in the beginning from the Middle European part of our world, and Adelphi was very courageous in bringing to Italy authors like Joseph Roth, Hofmannsthal, who in that age was not at all known in Italy. And there's a huge list of authors till our modern times who became classics, who will never die. Very, yeah, let's say the gods of authors somehow. And what was special in Adelphi, what is that from the beginning it had Indian literature. So, you know, if you think of titles like the Tantra Loka, like the Gita Govinda, Vajna Bhairava, I hope to pronounce it well, you must tell me. Not only, but the Bhagavad Gita. Then there was one book by a young girl, she was 12 years old, an Indian, who depicted for a grandmother the Mahabharata. So there are 2 volumes of the Mahabharata painted by the girl and retold by her when she was age 12. And Roberto discovered her. I think he met her for the first time in Jaipur and fell in love with her way of writing and depicting. So I have other titles which I have written down. Of course, we have also Indian authors like Naipaul and Kiran Desai. Samita Arni is a girl of whom I was talking to you. And we made this Kama Sutra, Manu's Laws, Darashiko, Kalidasa, Bhatrari, Ashwagosha, Yayadeva, and even a book of the roots of Ayurveda. I think that is, I try to make it a short sketch, but you can get an idea. And it's very late, I think I have to stop. What I just wanted to say, India from the beginning was played a very, very important role, and I thank you very much again.
Thank you, Anna. I think that was a comprehensive list. How are we doing for time? We're close to wrapping up. But thank you. I think what a great ringside view of different countries, different cultures, different publishing ecosystems. I think that's one of the power of stories, is that they will penetrate. You do not need a visa for a story to cross borders. And I hope these conversations continue. I'm sure we'll keep in touch, and I think a lot more stories will travel across the world. If there are questions, we can maybe take one. This may not come, but I think we'll need a.
Oops. So I know it's been a very long weekend, a very long week for all of you, so I'll be very brief, just 2 minutes. Thank you, all of you, Dankeschön from our German friends here for the introductions. So just as a brief 30-second pitch, I'm a writer and also the CEO of the world's largest health education company. And with me right now are 2 books. How many of you would be interested if today, in 2024, you had The Future, The Alchemist, and The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari? How many publishing houses here, by a show of hands, would be interested if you had the New York Times bestseller with you? All right. So these are the 2 books. The first book is called The Man Who Dated the World. I'm one of the world's top 100 travel bloggers. So this is learning about 103 countries by dating 103 people in those countries. And the second is How to Beat Harvard University. And this is a work of nonfiction. So that was my time. But thank you so much once again, all of you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, yes, we can.
I hope that you all continue to talk. And
yeah.
Our volunteers would really like to share some gifts with you. And I think we really have to wrap up.
All right. Thank you, Manisha. Thank you, everyone, for staying back. Thank you so much. Thank you.